G'day, Australia. We're back next week with season 2 of the podcast. But we have one more bonus episode for you. It's an important mindset that you can choose each and every day, and it will set you up for success. And it's free, so stick around. You're listening to Mind Over Money. G'day, Tim.
Hey, Lachy.
Hey.
Long-time fan, first-time caller.
So Tim has joined our team at Waymaker. Tim is a mortgage broker and financial advocate, and he's not replacing Archie. Archie's on holidays right now, so g'day Archie if you're listening to this. We hope you're having a great time.
Yeah, Yoda will be back. Our financial Yoda.
Yeah, he'll be back. So next week we're kicking off season 2 of the podcast, but today we got this bonus episode. We wanted to just talk about something that's really going to set us up for success this year. So Tim, I have a question for you. What is the fastest way to ruin your day?
Well, I think in terms of our day and our financial lives, it's comparison. When we're comparing what other people have, what other people are doing to ourselves, that's one way to feel terrible so easily. And we know that life is 10% what happens to us, but 90% of how we respond to that. And so our mindsets are such a massive key to our worldview. And that story that we're telling ourselves every day really dictates how we're going to feel about our finances and feel about ourselves.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, when I think about that, I think most people might have been expecting running out of coffee or getting hit by a car or something, what's going to ruin our day. But usually what it is our mindset. It's we're going about our day and we encounter a mindset that's not helpful to us. And that is usually what sets us off course. So it's comparison. So let's talk about that. So comparison, it's killing our joy around finances.
Well, what would you say drives comparison, Lachy? What do you think? Why are we so comparing all the time?
I guess it's a human nature thing. Perhaps certain environments are also leading to it. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so many things. I think keeping up with the Joneses, I guess today, we've always been comparing, but social media has maybe made it easier to compare, like looking at the people's best pictures of the day and then comparing it to my worst moments. So yeah, I think, obviously comparison is not a new thing, but all these things that kind of exacerbate the problem. Yeah.
We got a puppy in our household, relatively new. It's about 7 months old. And, we always post pictures of the puppy. He looks super cute and whatnot. But what we don't post is him chewing things, ripping out the grass we just put in, throwing up on the tiles randomly. And so, it is easy to look at a picture of a dog and go, I want a dog like that, or whatever it is we're seeing online. But we are just seeing a highlight reel. So I guess it is a mix of these things. I think deeper down, I think it comes from a perceived, or I say perceived because it's a fear, but it's a perceived fear of missing out or being left behind. So there are these kind of primal fears that we have, right? About survival and thrival as we relate to the world around us. And so that's not all bad, but we need to be aware of it. And when it comes to comparison, it is one of those fears that it comes out of. I think it always tends to be negative. When was the last time you said, and I compared myself to this person and I felt great? It's not usually positive and it's not usually helpful. And I think, like you said before, we live in a very consumption-driven economy right now. And so that really feeds in quite nicely if you're a business wanting to sell something, because comparison is just, plug and play that trigger to get us to buy more.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, that's like marketing. They are the best. They're making us compare in the ads. Oh, life could be like that if we just drank Coke. Yeah, we would be jumping on clouds and dancing on the beach with one sip of Coke.
Yeah, or comparing two different types of cars. When really the question is, do I even need that car? Like, they got you focusing on which car are you going to buy, and it's like, oh, hang on, I don't need either of them right now. So
true.
For the buying of the thing, like, it makes us feel good momentarily, but really, like, having that thing long term, we know deep down it's not going to bring the fulfillment or the joy or even the security that we're looking for. For example, with the car situation, maybe we're comparing cars and we want to buy a certain car to fit into a certain group of friends or perceived friends or people we want to be friends with. But then we buy the car, that new car feeling wears off pretty quickly. And now that car we bought hasn't really brought us any closer to the people around us. In fact, it might even ostracize us from other people, other relationships. Because now we've got this car, we got to spend the weekend polishing and cleaning and getting, serviced at a special place. And, the things that we actually pick up through comparison can actually choke the relationships that we have. It takes all our time and our money. And of course, that car's now a liability too. It's sitting in the garage. We've got to pay insurance on it. We've got to service it. And so that thing that we thought was going to get us ahead can actually be pulling us back from the things that really matter.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I think I was trying to think through so what's a positive of comparison? And I couldn't even think of one. I thought maybe some people use comparison, as like extrinsic motivation, maybe work harder, like, oh, I want to buy that thing to look like that. But even then, there's better ways. I think there's better ways to cultivate good motivation in your life and what you're pursuing, like obviously pursuing career or working hard to have a bigger impact or to help more people. So I think there's just kind of no merits to compassion in our lives. I mean, not comparison. Compassion's good. So
I guess the other thing about comparison is it doesn't really change your situation. Doesn't actually do anything to fix whatever perceived problems there are.
I guess it even makes it worse. It's all internal, and it's just like, now I feel bad about my situation. And I guess it's because you stop really valuing your own life and enjoying the moment, and now you're moving towards this one day out there, the grass is greener kind of mentality, where when I get there, or if I have that thing, or if I get that, that new car like we're talking about, then I'm gonna feel fulfilled or have joy in my finance. Then I'll make it. So I think definitely it's like that. It doesn't do anything right now. It just makes the situation so much worse. And we just feel like not empowered to be able to act, which is not helpful. Yeah. So what do you think? How can we love our finances then? So we talked about comparison, which is kind of killing our joy.
That was the headline of this episode. We bait and switched you guys. How to love your finances and life. Yeah. I'm going to ask you, Tim, how do we love our finances and life?
It's a great question. I guess what's the antidote to comparison is what we've kind of been talking about. And I think it is practicing or having the mindset of contentment. And
what is contentment?
Great. Yeah. I guess contentment is, there's a lot of definitions. Definition for it is a state of satisfaction or peacefulness, happiness. And the Greek term is like sufficient and satisfied. So contentment is meaning being happy in our current situation. And financial contentment is being happy with what we've got at the moment. And not being like, I need more. But it's saying, looking at, okay, this is what I've got at the moment. And that allows us to actually act and be like, okay, maybe I do need to change my income. Worrying about it right now is not going to change anything. But if I'm content, I can make wiser, more comfortable decisions in my finances.
Yeah, I think it's like building blocks. It's like, how am I going to build, income you just mentioned, how am I going to build my income if I'm not content on what I have already? Because it'll never be enough. You're building a Tower of Babel. It's just like, there's no foundations. It's like, I just got to go higher. And then eventually that thing comes crashing down. And, you said at the start, the old adage, life is 10% what happens to us, 90% of what we can control. And how we respond to it, and what can we control? It's our attitude, that state of contentment, that when we choose it, right? People ask, how do I have contentment? Well, you can choose it. That's the amazing thing. Just like that, boom, you can be satisfied with who you are and what you have right now. It's pretty cool.
I love that because it gives me, I feel like, okay, I'm in the driver's seat a little bit.
Yes.
There's something I can do today
Yeah.
to change the way my outlook or how I feel, and that flows down, like the way I'm going to treat my family. That flows down to everything. It's like, okay, because I have contentment. I'm okay.
Yeah, and another thing is like I think we often think contentment is very passive. Like I just must be solemn and content and keep my mouth shut and just like it's that kind of like I'm just going to be very passive about it. But I think that's an assumption. I think if we're not content with ourselves, we can run all day on the hamster wheel and we're not going to get anywhere. And I think we see this in people. Like we see people like running towards things, and it's like they already have it. It's like sometimes they don't see it themselves, but we can see it in them. As in, like it takes another person sometimes to see that someone is chasing something that they actually already have. It's in themselves. Like they actually have that thing that they need, but they're still chasing for it because they're not content. And it's kind of sad, if you've seen that in someone else, like a friend or a coworker or someone, you go, hey, you've already got it. You're like, just enjoy what you have. But I think we think contentment is just this very passive thing, but it's not. It's really, it's about being secure. It's not about being passive. It's actually about being secure in who we are, what we have, and satisfied and enjoying. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, contentment. It really is.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's something we can do and move on. And you're right. It's really within us, but it's something we got to think about. And I think we said there's so much advertisement, there's so much noise, and that can distract us and pull our attention away from being content. Like, because if you're content, you're not buying stuff like more than what you need, and that doesn't. Yeah, obviously marketing doesn't help.
That's not the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like just you got to kind of recenter yourself, and some practicals are like we live in an amazing country called Australia. You're probably listening from Australia. Are there any listeners outside of Australia?
I guess a few Kiwis, a couple of guys from the States listening. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think
crew. Yeah.
America. Oh, cool. Well, I think America and New Zealand and even Japan, we were all in a similar kind of economic range. And it's great to just recenter. Like we live in an amazing place. And if you're on minimum wage here in Australia, which is about $850 a week, that puts you in the top 4.5% of highest income earners in the world. Wow. And which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's like 8 billion people or something in the world now.
Yeah. And top 4.5. And sometimes you feel like you're on the edge, but we're not on the edge. So we have options. Yeah. And there's people working much harder than we have to work for a lot less. And so it always like helps me just to be grateful and like recenter. Okay, things are not so bad.
Yeah. You have to put it into perspective, right? And so we'll add a link in the show note where you can actually calculate your income for yourself. It's an anonymous website. You put your income in, and it'll actually show you where you sit. I think most people listening will be in that top 2 to 4% of the highest income earners in the world. It's kind of mind blowing, but again, it just brings us back. No. Like we said, contentment is within us. We just get distracted. We get the metrics around us wrong. And sometimes we've got to bring back the bearings to kind of center us and go, we have so much. We have so much to be grateful for. Now, income's a good one to mention because I think like that's the thing. We think that there's going to be the lottery or Bitcoin or some big miracle that's going to, fix our problems, that thing that's going to save us, when actually the income is actually the best wealth building tool that we have. It's predictable. It's proven to work. When we take our income, we invest it, we use it to pay down debt, pay off a home, all those different things. Income is the key. And if we're not content with what we have, for example, like our income, we don't value it. And therefore we miss out on all the benefits. So we go through our life saying, if only I had a higher income, I would be better off. When really the income we had, if we just put it to work, we could have created a much better life. By putting our income to work and growing and creating more income throughout our life. So I think...
Wow. So you're saying signing up to the lottery is not going to work? Not going to help me?
I know they say you're going to be in it to win it, but... Sometimes there ain't any winnings. No, it's what's in front of us, like that's it. So,
yeah, I love that.
So, okay, Tim, how do we practice contentment and, get out of this overspending and debt mindset?
Yeah, practicing contentment can, really help us break free from that. Like, it's such a cure to overspending and even debt. And it sounds too simple, but, and this mind free, like contentment, being comfortable where we're at is completely free, but it's so valuable. And, it can save you not only just the mental space, but also it could even save you practically hundreds of thousands of dollars. Contentment creates an environment where you can focus on things that are truly important. And because we stop getting, I guess, distracted by chasing everything.
Yeah.
So I think that the biggest way we can practice contentment, I think, is just daily be thankful. Have gratitude for what we have. And there's so many different practical ways we can do that.
Like
but gratitude is where like every positive attitude starts.
Yeah, comes out of a place of gratitude. I often think of gratitude as one of the things where it's like everything can flow out of it. If we start from a grateful, humble heart, so much can come out of that. And you talk about how contentment can break us free from overspending and debt. Because we're not chasing things. Sometimes, like, we've seen this with people, like, just staying in the home that they're in just a little bit longer and just loving that home and not, jumping up to the next thing straight away. You usually find that, a year or two down the track, this awesome opportunity comes along and they're able to upgrade that home and get a really good home. But it's because they were grateful and they were just content. And then that opportunity always seems to follow. I can't explain it. But it's just something you see in people that are grateful that the right time and the right chance, it always comes about, because I just believe it now that gratitude opens the way for so many amazing things to come into our life. And so how do you see gratitude? Really, what is it? What is it to you?
I agree. I guess, it's so you can be patient, and when wait for those opportunities rather than trying to rush it and pushing the circle into the square or the other way around. But I think it's because, when we are thankful, like you said, we get more opportunities, things, we kind of value things that have been put in our lives more. And I think those things that we value tend to be healthier and tend to grow. Yeah. And
true.
Yeah, it's like a practical thing is like in your relationships, your spouse, when you're valuing that person or when you're not valuing that person, it's pretty different, that relationship.
So gratitude is really about placing value upon things, but more than that, even I guess you got to express that value, right? In appreciation and encouragement that you just mentioned, relationships there. Yeah, if you don't encourage the people, if you are grateful for someone and you never say thank you, you never express that, that ain't going to go well in that relationship.
How would they know?
How would they know? Exactly. Yeah. It's amazing when people, like, you encourage someone and they just light up. I think it's something that's so needed today, and people just aren't taking the time to be grateful and express that to others. But it can really change someone. It can really unlock something in potential in someone that you don't know what the effects are, but it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's such a great practical.
Yeah.
It's like, just say thank you to someone, or like a genuine, wow, I saw this thing, I'm so grateful for you, or grateful for that. I think that is such a great way to start being content in what we have.
Yeah.
For sure.
I remember my first car was a little Nissan Bluebird. I used to put my hand on it. I used to tap it, give it a good bashing and go, I love this car. And I used to just say it to myself all the time. And when I had problems with the car, I just sort of tap it and go, I love this car. It's great, besides all the problems. And it really did. It did turn out to be a good car until I handed off to a friend and then he crashed it. But it was a really good car. But sometimes you got to do that. You actually have to, even if I say that because sometimes it's a thing and it sounds a bit silly to say it, but like, I love my house. I love this car. You just being grateful for the things that you have. And same with the people around us. Of course, that's the most important, is being grateful for the relationships that we have, the people in our world, the people we get to serve every day, our clients, our customers, our colleagues. Yeah.
That's so good. I think maybe for some of us, like, it's easier to value people, but I love what you said, just our things. Like, it's amazing to have, like, maybe we'll take care of it more, it'll last longer because we're grateful. I'm going to do that to my car, I think. Taking that on board.
Okay, so let's wrap up.
Yeah, sounds good.
So how do you love your finances today and your life? I think it starts with contentment. We gotta just draw that line in the sand and say, hey, I'm gonna approach my life with a posture of contentment. And I dare you, listener, to do that and see what happens.
Yeah, it's good. I think the second thing is, gratitude. It's one way that we can practically do this every day. And as we're grateful for what we have, we will find ourselves, continuing to grow and enrich others as well. And and life gets better and better.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and even when things don't go our way, we're all right. We're all right. So this mindset, I really believe, will serve you so well in your financial life as well as in our whole lives.
Yeah, that's so good. And so, we just wanted to kick off season 2 with that thought is let's just sit on that for the next week. Contentment, gratitude. And to help you listeners put this into action, we actually have a link in the show note where you can download a gratitude assessment. This is a 1-page template. You can do it digitally or you can print it out. It's 6 powerful short questions that will help you cultivate gratitude today. I filled this sheet out and I felt amazing at the end of it. I couldn't believe it. I was running out of room. I was trying to, modify the text box to try and write more stuff in there, but it's pretty amazing. So we encourage you to take 5 minutes to complete that guy. Download that in the link in the show notes there. And like you said, this mindset of contentment, cultivating gratitude, it's going to serve you really well this year. Hey, Tim, great to have you on the podcast. Look forward to chatting to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Love being a part of the Waymaker team.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to a great year together. All right, guys. See ya.
Bye.